Hi everyone. So I went to my local comic shop, or the local comic shop. I'm visiting my dad, and man, I got hoodwinked. I went there, so on like social media, I saw a bunch of comics, and I went out, and none of them were on the stands. And I went on a Wednesday, and I came back and I said, "People, what's up?" And then they said everything came out. Didn't you get it? And then I went on to Comixology, and a ton of stuff came out this week. I literally think my local comic shop put all of its hope in Secret Empire, and they underordered or didn't order a lot of titles because all I saw was Secret Empire and just a couple other things for this week. I'm thinking they're hoping that... So issue 7 is supposed to be a big issue because they kill a major character, and then I even flipped through it, and she's not even definitively dead. But I think they're hoping that, 7 will get the one to buy all our own unsold product. But anyway, I'm pretty pissed because I couldn't get my hands on Iceman 3. Now, Iceman is a terrible series. It's like ridiculously bad, and it's so fun to buy it and roast it and rip it. I think Iceman 1 was the first comic I ripped. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. And then, but here's the deal. Like, I had layers of disappointment. Not only did I not get my hands on a physical copy of Iceman, I bought the Comixology version. So this is what you're seeing, some nice clear scans. But this one wasn't like as juicily terrible as the first two. The plot is fairly solid, and actually, here's one thing I'm noticing. The writing is pretty good. People talk like people, except for the main character. People talk like people. People talk like they are different people. This is one of the biggest problems with SJW writers and just bad writers in general. Everyone has the same voice, which is basically the voice of the writer. Cena Grace, who I at first wrote off as a complete fraud, now I see that his only real problem is, you're going to see it. I put it there. So I'm not crazy about doing these scanned reviews because I'm literally just remembering, like I had to memorize the comic and say it back. But anyway, one of the first screen caps I showed you was the Comixology, summary of the book. And it said that its genre was LGBTQ and then superhero second. And someone actually, in one of my America Chavez reviews, they said, it seems like this story is just her being gay first and superhero second. And this one, that's what this series seems to be. But the thing, it was very, because I just wanted to laugh at every single thing, and I couldn't laugh. The plot was solid. It actually seems to lead to other things. It looks like basically Iceman might be turning evil or basically becoming cruel or overpowered. But the main character is just terrible. Terrible. So like I mentioned before, I live in like one of the gayest neighborhoods in the country. And so I get to see that these little flouncy little fey purse puppies are, I don't know, 10, 15%. The vast majority of gay guys, at least in my neighborhood, they're like yoked. They all look like they were like retired special forces guys. So I'm looking, they draw this. So the whole thing about this story is it would make so much more sense if it was set between like 1985 and like 1994. I think basically Cena Grace, I don't know how old he is, probably like mid-30s. I think he's basically flashing back to his childhood because this is kind of a coming out story, but not really. But just like everything, like I mentioned before, Bobby Drake's like 30 something. His parents are like 70 and 80. And so it really doesn't fit, and like they don't fit with how parents are now. Especially like out in like near New York City, so the story, Comixology describes it as, LGBTQ / superhero book. And then we get into the summary page, and it's like, Bobby's regular job is saving kids and punching bigots. If you're not active in social media, punch bigots, punch Nazis. it's not the literal thing that it sounds like. It's referring to a broader thing that basically says, punch anyone who you disagree with politically, or more likely, put on an Antifa mask, outnumber them 20-1, hit them in the back of the head with a bike lock, and then run away. So if you go punching bigots, that's a weird way to describe a superhero. Yeah, because he's referring to something else. But and then he's like, but you know what the hard thing to do is? Talk about feelings. So then the first page is Bobby, this is painful, doing a group text to his friends where he's like, I'm gay. It's a process and I'm working through it. It actually is a process. It started when Jean Grey turned you gay in that issue. So there's a very, very solid fan theory that Jean Grey literally turned Bobby Drake gay. Used her Phoenix Force, used her, powers of persuasion, turned him gay. Because there's a question where she's just like, you're gay, Bobby. He's like, what? Huh? What? And she's like, you're gay. And then he's like, I'm gay. So it's literally like she was like doing she was putting a whammy on him or something like that. But anyway, he does like a group text. Again, I'm just going to throw an age out for Bobby, 32. The idea that a 32-year-old in 2017 just magically at the 2017 is like, oh, I'm gay. Like, come on. Maybe like in the 50s when you had to be so closeted that you would even closet your own feelings. Bobby's grown up in basically a group of people who are all different than everyone else. If any place would make you want to come out of the closet, it would be being in the X-Men. And actually coming out of the closet would be the most boring. Like I said, they keep doing this thing they did on Supergirl where they want to have that 1980s big, oh, I'm coming out of the closet. Nobody comes out of the closet because nobody's in a closet. Even people who think they're in the closet because they didn't tell their friends they're gay. Their friends all know they're gay. Like, that would be the most awkward thing if, like, my friend was like, I'm gay. And you're like, what? Is this like a, what? Are you doing like a bit? Yeah, everyone knows you're gay. Like people don't meet someone and tell in like 3 seconds that they're gay. And I'm not talking about like being like, hello. You just tell. One of the reasons people used to get surprised back in the day is because people just assumed there were no gays or gays were super rare or, you're gay? It's like, whoa! Like, yeah, it's 2017. Everyone knows there's gay people out there. When has any, celebrity come out and everyone's like, no. Oh, really? Yeah, we all knew. That's what happens. People Magazine still tries to have those like big coming out. So anyway, Bobby goes in and his parents are, Bobby is completely petulant. Originally I was thinking this was bad writing, but then I remembered being this age and I had this weird problem where every time I would visit my dad, for some reason, I would start kind of being a little childish. Like I would get a little moody. It's like flashing back to being a teen. It doesn't happen now. I'm fine. But I actually noticed that like 3 years in a row, I was like, man, every time I visit, I end up being like a moody jerk who just like stays in his room the whole time. So going back to your parents when you're in your 30s and acting a little regressive, not actually bad writing when I first noticed it. His parents are completely reasonable people. His mom says funny things. She's like, why don't you go be a fireman? Wouldn't you be the best fireman ever? And you'd have a retirement. And she's even saying, like, do the X-Men give you a retirement? Do they give you a pension? And he's like, oh my God, Mom. And it's like, it's a completely reasonable thing to say. I mean, he's 10 years into like, being an adult and I'm sure he has like no savings at all. But he's just kind of like endlessly explode. Like I said, the thing is that he's basically a TV gay and specifically like a 1990s TV gay. Honestly, he should be no big deal, well into like his career. And it doesn't really make sense. Then the Purifiers attack. And here's the funny thing. Not only the art got a lot better. I'm pretty sure this is the same guy from the first 2 issues. I was really impressed with the art. Again, it falls into the category of not something that I personally like, but something that I can respect the hell out. I tend to like more like 1990s type of art. But there's a good solid plot, basically. Some Purifiers are doing a home invasion. It's being led by a kind of like a crew leader, like a squad leader, who's the father of the one Purifier that Bobby beat up in the first issue. By the way, it took Bobby like the entire issue to beat up one Purifier. Now he's being attacked at his house. He's pretty much more he's actually more badass. So he takes out like 12 of them. The problem is, like I said, like the Cena Grace. So Cena Grace, from everything I can tell, he's the 5 to 15%. He's the super fruity, like, well, I'm a super gay, and he's like wears a shirt on his like Twitter profile. It's like, the future is female. It's like, whatever, dude. You're not a girl. Stop. It's time to stop. But you can tell that. And you can see in these things, like Bobby makes like these like really failed jokes, but they're like catty, like really effeminate gay guy jokes. But then he's drawn like in a middle version, and then they switch to him being like a super badass who like brands like frostbite X's onto like a Purifier's chest, which is not a hero thing to do. I don't know. It seemed really wrong, and it just made me think, it's like, oh, okay, so again, this is the we punch Nazis thing. It's like I mean, I grew up Spider-Man as Amazing Friends, like Iceman. Iceman was super cool. No pun intended. Branding someone with a frostbite scar, like, it's not heroic, and it's just weird. So anyway, I mentioned this in the first issue, where all of this would make more sense if it was in 1980s, because in the 1980s there was a lot of like stuff about AIDS, HIV, and there was a lot of like Christian groups having problems with gay this, gay that, gay everything. 2017, not so much, but there's this other group that has a lot of problem with gays. I'm looking at you, Buddhists. You know you're guilty. Okay, obviously everyone knows who I'm talking about. There's parts of the world where you literally get thrown off roofs for being gay, and it is not in Christian majority countries. It's in Muslim majority countries. Now, one of the things Marvel used to be good at is rolling with the times and kind of being symbolically true to the times. So, you know, like when you had the Red Scare and you had communism, you had Hydra being like pseudo-Nazis, pseudo-communists, and then, you know, you would have a lot of groups you could say, this is to comment on this. But the Purifiers, it's just like a dead meme. It's basically, we're doing like a shout out to 1980s, like, you know, the silent majority Christian fundamentalism. The Purifiers should be Muslim, straight up and down. You can do it visually coded that they're Muslim. You know, you put like, basically like, you know, like a mask over their face. It's kind of like a Middle Eastern thing. Or you literally just draw them like they're Muslim. The funny thing is, I was just describing Ms. Marvel, and people were talking about like, yeah, something's up with her brother. He dresses like a shepherd, like a straight up fundamentalist, and they keep doing this thing like, oh, really? You just think the guy who dresses like a shepherd and doesn't have a job and seems like very radical, you think he's going to be a terrorist? Pretty racist of you. But that would make sense. I mean, we've had lots of siblings. Didn't Batgirl's brother like become a Satanist who tried to murder her? The thing is, put it this way. You can make Batgirl's brother a murderer, no problem. Can you ever make Ms. Marvel's brother into a villain? No, hell no, you can't. Hell no, not even like a religiously based terrorist, just any kind of villain. You're not allowed to do it. Like I've said with Project Rebirth. Oh, by the way, so Project Rebirth is like a fan. What's the official phrase to keep me from getting sued? A transformative work of art, critiquing and satirizing the character, company, and current culture. Yeah, so it's a fan take. It's basically fanfic. But I've been doing this one for Miss Marvel. I brought it up in a video yesterday, and I got some good like responses. Like, okay, cool. So I'm probably gonna do a video describing that one. Right now, I'm calling the project Little Miss Marvel. I'm not crazy about that one because it sounds like it's like for like 5-year-olds. Anyway, I mean, I like the title Rebirth. I gotta come up with something similar for Miss Marvel. Anyway, excuse me. Anyway, getting back to the story. So the Purifiers, and it's like they have like a Christian cross. So you can't say like, oh, that would be so offensive to Muslims if you made the Purifiers Muslim. The Purifiers are literally portrayed as an evil group of Christians, and they have the cross as the symbol on their chest and on their helmets. Like, you can't say we're progressive, we're not racist, if you're not also willing to make people from all minority groups villains. So anyway, so getting back to the thing, it's pretty solid. He takes these people down, but he kind of goes overkill. But yeah, it was just, I got really sad. So here's the deal. I think Cena Grace actually can write. The thing is, I do not think he can write gay characters. I think he is way too caught up in his personal politics, in being a minority within a minority. By that I'm meaning he's the super effeminate, flouncy gay among the gays I see, who all look and act masculine. So I think he's not in the headspace to write a gay character. Even though he was kind of trying to do the like, oh, look at the parents, they're so old and bigoted. They actually come off pretty badass. Like, his dad like fakes a heart attack to punch one of the Punishers, or maybe he exaggerated chest pains. His mom is like pretty cool. Like, she actually roasts Iceman, and it's kind of funny. And then even the dad mentions that she has a good sense of humor, and she does. And then the other thing is that the mom and the dad are quite different in the way they talk. So you can see that Cena Grace has actual talent to write stories and differentiate characters. His own like personal politics, he can't write. Bobby Drake. So I did this in a couple of videos, and it's gotten a good response. Don't just complain. Say how you would fix something, how you would do it better. So number one, you need to have this book be about Bobby Drake being very, very confused that he didn't think he was gay most of his life, and then suddenly at the age of 32, he feels 100% gay. So he's like, is this how it is for all gay guys, or is there something up? Honestly, I would go full bore with that Jean Grey as the ultimate SJW, who literally transformed him into a purse puppy. And you do that, and some point where it has to be like, hey, it can't be undone. You know, just a plot device. This cannot be undone. You were not gay growing up. You were not gay in your 20s. You were not gay when you were 31. You were not gay when Stranger Things Season 1 came out. Suddenly, in summer of 2017, you're gay. You got to deal with it. How would he feel? Because he's not meant to feel that. It's kind of like, I'm seeing people talk about the Trump thing, and they're like, Trump's vice president supports conversion therapy. Jean Grey, there's a fan theory, and it's a very solid one. She did conversion theory on Bobby Drake for whatever creepy reason, and then deal with that. Also, the way you portray Bobby Drake needs to be more up to date. First of all, he shouldn't be coming out. Well, no, people should be shocked. In the thing, Lauren is just like, oh, I always knew. That's why I picked Alex. And she should be like, that's weird because you never came off gay ever. Please call me right now. Then it would actually be really interesting. Because like I said, since he's been transformed, he would not feel that he wanted to go back to being, you know what I mean? Like, if I used to be gay and someone transformed me into being straight, I'm like, okay, I like women now. That's cool. They're like, do you want to go back to being gay? I was like, I don't want to be gay. Like, look at this. You know what I mean? So, but he should obviously be very angry that someone would do this without his consent. So it'd be an interesting kind of thing. And people could even say, like, do you want to go back? He's like, I don't want to go back, but I'm pissed. Maybe he even like literally like charges her in court. Like, he presses charges, and you get into some weird like Matt Murdock, She-Hulk, trial where he's like, I'm suing my former teammate. He gets Jean Grey kicked out of the X-Men for turning him gay. And they're like, do you want her to turn you back? He's like, no, I'm fine with it because that's how she made me, but this is messed up. And she goes to jail for it. Jeez, that would be a cool story. Also, the way you portray him more masculine, portray him more muscular. Like I said, The gay men in my neighborhood, it's like a competition to be built. They all look like freaking 1980s action heroes. So he shouldn't just be like an average guy. He should be like yoked. So anyway, running up on the end of my time on my phone. Tell me what you think about this book. Tell me if you think Cena Grace is actually a good writer. I'm really starting to think he is. He just can't write this version of Iceman. Tell me what you think about the fan theory of Jean Grey actually turning Bobby Drake gay. And if you know what issue that was, because I've just seen screenshots, tell me it is. I'm going to go track it down. Anyway, thanks for watching. I got more new comic reviews up later today.